Anytime we come to the Smart Africa Summit, we are going back home with many things that we learned, we discussed, we shared with colleagues, ministers, public sector leaders, young entrepreneurs. And what is, in my point of view, what is the most important thing is the involvement of young Africans, African ladies in research, innovation, entrepreneurship, leadership in general, to be part of those actors for a better development of this continent. Because for the last years, we Africans used to listen people to come and tell us what is good for us and how we're supposed to do it. Now we can see more and more young Africans, more and more politicians, more and more African actors involved in defining policies, strategies to answer to our local problems, because we do need local solutions to address local problems.
Now, lack of political will has been one of the issues frequently raised during the meeting. What do you think is holding governments back from just stopping the restrictions to technology's transformation on the continent?
Actually, I don't think it's a lack of political will. In Africa, we are facing different challenges. Human capacity is one of the biggest challenges that we're facing. For a government to define a clear strategy, a clear policy, that means that government has qualified human resource to put in place a clear vision, objectives, and to put in place a review mechanism to be able to evaluate the implementation of what was decided and what was put in place before. Today, what politicians can do, different governments, is mutualization of our efforts, to go beyond the national borders, to be able to see what is well done in the next country. Instead of reinventing the wheel, what can I take from Uganda, what can I take from Guinea, then replicate it, not copy and paste, but try to replicate it, to adapt it in Rwanda, in Guinea, in Cote d'Ivoire. That makes me doing things fast and smarter.
I want to pick from something you mentioned, human capacity. How can African countries increase the number of the workforce in the digital technology sector on the continent?
Today, when you look at the steering committee of the Smart Africa Alliance, we do have some academia. We have Carnegie Mellon University, we have ASMT, we have other training institutes. We need to strengthen our training institutes. We need to convince more and more young Africans to go into a technical institute, to have engineers, technicians, doctors, to do research to address our different challenges. Because if we don't focus on developing the human capacity, what will happen? We can define objectives, visions, but we do not have the workforce, the qualified human resource to tackle all those, things that we're facing day by day. So that's why the first thing I think we can do, since developing ICT, developing agriculture, anything that we're trying to develop is for human being. So it's for the betterment of our people. So we need to start by making sure that our young generations are smarter, well qualified, and able to be those who are going to take actions on behalf of our different countries tomorrow.
All right. Political will alone won't lead to the required results to advance technology on the continent. How do you think African countries should, what measures do you think they should put in place to create a favorable environment for investment in this particular sector?
The first thing that our country should do is cooperation. Second thing is developing the attractivity of our different countries, the enabling environment. We have to enable the environment. We have to promote transparency. We have to promote equity. We have to be able to predict what our rules, laws going to be tomorrow, and to make sure that private sector is convinced, private sector is guaranteed that if they put their money, they have the guarantee that that money can give value, and promote the public-public partnership and public-private partnership. We are always putting emphasis on public-private partnership, but to convince the private sector that our countries are attractive enough, our regions are ready for investment, they need to know that if they jump from one country to another, they will not face different legislation, they will not face different regulation tools for them to get more and more transparency between countries.
All right, my final point has to do with the lessons you think other countries have to learn from your own country in terms of technology advancement.
And actually, each of us can learn from other. When you look at Rwanda today, you have many sectors where Rwanda is ahead. When you look at Senegal, when you look at Cote d'Ivoire, you look at South Africa, you may see for each country, you have at least a single area where other countries can learn. That's why we as African countries, it's important to have a shared information, a platform where we can put all our information. We can put all information about existing projects that other countries can come in, other actors can come in and see what happened in Guinea last year and what is happening this year. What was the challenges that Guinea actors face? Then what should I do not to face the same challenges, to tackle those things and be quicker and faster? That's what we used to say, to be smart. Being smart doesn't mean that you have to increase your intelligence. It's to do things differently, faster, smarter, costless.